Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is just about the end of the grow season here, and it is time for me to show you guys how to make a Bonchi from a fully mature plant. This is a yellow Boquino. It was a huge producer, as you can see here. One of the reasons I decided to make this into a Bonchi is because of the unique fruit it produces. I think that these fruit would look great on a miniature tree. So before we get into it, let me show you exactly how we got to this stage. So here's the mature yellow Boquino here. It was grown in a 10-gallon fabric grow pot. Again, it was a huge producer, so I'm probably going to be using these fabric grow pots again next year. After you remove the plant from the fabric grow bag, you want to take a hose or something and just kind of spray down the root ball. Don't be afraid to be too aggressive because a lot of those roots are going to be chopping down manually. So make sure you get all the dirt out. The last thing you want to do is bring some type of pest in your house over the wintertime, because they'll thrive, they'll love the warm conditions over the wintertime, and it will just be such a hassle. So here we are back in the grow room. I have the root ball all cleaned off. I'm going to be using this white porcelain bowl that I stole from my wife again for this Bonchi. Clearly it's a little small for the plant at its current size, so what we're going to have to do is chop down some of these roots in order for it to properly fit and for it to properly grow. Make sure you chop off just a little bit at a time and kind of work your way up. Only chop off what you need to. The roots are the main part of the plant that helps it grow, so the less we have to chop off, the better. But at the same time, we want to make sure it can fit in the grow bowl or the pot or whatever you're going to be using. Alright, after you cut down a good majority of the roots, it's time to cut down the foliage. As sad as it's going to be for the better of the plant as it moves forward and as it recovers from this brutal chopping it's taking. So take your time with it. You know, enjoy the process. You're going to take off all these secondary branches here, everything that has fruit on it. Don't worry, I'll save all these fruit. I'm going to use them, I'm going to eat them, I'll do something with them. But it's definitely something that has to go. Alright, so after the majority of the greenery is cut down, you want to try to see if the roots are going to fit inside your grow bowl or your grow pot. For me, I had to chop it down just a little bit more in order for it to properly fit. Alright, so at this point, my roots fit. It's time to add the potting mix. So this is an indoor potting mix that I'm using. I just put a little bit down on the bottom of the bowl just as a base layer because I don't want the roots directly against the porcelain. So add a little base layer, then what you're gonna wanna do is sit the root ball right on top of that. And then from there, after you get it positioned properly, you're just gonna fill in the rest of the area with a good layer of potting mix. You wanna make sure you pack the soil in nice and tight. You don't want any air bubbles underneath there. So add as much as you can, pack it in nice and tight, then you're just gonna water it in and make sure it is solidly filled in. Once everything's nice and tight, you're just going to slide it into the grow tent and watch it grow. You're going to want to check on it every day, make sure it doesn't dry out too much. I'm going to trim down some more of this greenery. It's going to fall off on its own in the next few days anyway, due to the stress that the plant itself has faced. When it comes to growing bonchis, you kind of want to use a shallow bowl or a shallow pot. The deeper you have the pot and the more room the roots can grow down, the bigger the plant is going to be able to grow up. So if you want to keep it miniature, just make sure you keep the bowl shallow. But this is pretty much it. Here's my bonchi that I made last year. We're going to come back in about a week and we're going to check on the status of this guy. And we will probably chop this one down too, only because, again, it's coming in from the outside and I want to eliminate the threats of any pests that may be sleeping there. So we'll be back in about a week and we will check up on these. Another thing you want to have too is maybe a little heat mat. It just adds about 10 degrees, 15 degrees of warmth. It's going to help with the stress that you just put this plant through. The next 1 or 2 weeks is going to be crucial to the recovery. Once the new growth starts, you'll know that the plant is going to do well. So we'll be back in a week and we'll see. All right, guys, here we are about a week later. And as you can see, I cut off most of the foliage. I left that one on there just to get some photosynthesis action going. But if you look closely, you can see some new buds already starting to shoot out there. One right there, one right there. There's quite a few all over here. But yeah, like I said, under the right conditions, it's going to recover real quickly. Peppers are super resilient. I also added one more since I last made this one. And as you can see, this one has a really cool, unique root system that I just had to have. It's almost at like it's leaning in a little angle. So I kind of like it. It's unique. So we'll see how that goes. This is a Gangsta Yellow. Again, this is a Yellow Biquinho, and you all know this one. This is my Carolina Reaper that I just stripped down all the foliage off of a couple days ago. So that's going to be coming back strong really soon. So that's how you do it. I will keep you updated through the winter. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.